A grey corner, a dial, a button, a grey rivet, a grey flame. We filed through. Half reading the display panels, Dad was talking to one of the other parents. We had joined up to come to the warship. I felt safe in its armour. I crawled into the nooks and crannies. Demonstration, good timing, probably have died down. Meant to have finished by 4:30, said the young man at the ticket booth. We'll head over at 5, the coach leaves at 6. My coat caught on one of the buttons of the display panel and a series of bombs detonated and a siren sounded. My dad jumped and I felt the material of the Admiral's jacket. The mannequins fixed their red domes, black tips and neat curved arches spying away from me. I rubbed my hand on the cold metal and looked up at the grey pipe columns disappearing into the ceiling above. When I looked down, I noticed a glint on the dark floor, a distant beacon flashing. I leant down and pushed my arm under the barrier. My fingertip was around a centimetre short. I pulled my ticket from my pocket and slid it under to flick the shiny discovery to me. I stood up and opened my fist. On my palm was the glinting beacon, one half of an earring, a tiny horse, handcrafted from silver. No one was in the shower room with me. The tiny silver horse played on my mind for the rest of the walk around the ship. I pictured the lady wearing it, unassuming, red cord, skirt, blue, drooping blue, patting ties, while big glasses rolled down to her shoulders, faint complexion, softly spoken but fair, brushing her hair through her hair and shoulder, capturing the earring without noticing it dropping to the floor. The conversation with their partner later in the day, handed in at the gate. When I got there, I pushed my hand into my pocket, ready to reveal the find. Poised, I tried, but my hand enveloped a price. I tried to pull my hand out of my pocket, but instead I walked straight past my heart beating. We had left. I stopped and turned. My mum called. I turned and I walked towards it. It was too late. I was carrying the tiny silver horse.
There's a grass area back from the cenotaph, and because the access towards the Trafalgar Square appeared to be blocked, everybody was coming to a halt. We sat down on the grass, rested, took some tea. I look up to see a line of mounted police, and we don't know what to expect, and suddenly they charge. And we just have to disperse, and I've lost my family, I don't know where they are. We were given no instructions which way we had to go. It was chaos. I saw girls crying. I don't know what's going on. It's an utter disgrace. If I'm to be generous, I'd say it was badly organised. If I'm to be more realistic, I've got to say it's just downright bloody confrontational.
CT controller to Info 41, info by GTSG cameraman at LK Park. It appears that many demonstrators are in possession of alcohol. From bronze, 1 to 3,000 in park. Gina always reminded me of holiday. I wasn't allowed it. I sat there on the plastic moulded chair and looked into the top of the glass at the bubbles popping on the surface. The table was yellow formica with tiny black triangles. I was sat on the table on my own. Mum and Dad were sat with more of the parents, deep in conversation about what to do. We had walked until there was no sign of any more people and then found the nearest place we could. The windows were dripping with water from the condensation, loud clinks, hisses, scrapes, mumbled words, high, low distortions. It was hot in here. Food was being cooked behind the counter and the tables were almost full. The owner had called upstairs for his son to come and help, and he stood there with plain white t-shirt and black and white checked apron around his waist. His nose was pierced and his head was almost entirely shaved apart from a fringe at the front. "Darren," she had said, "come down and help me get some sandwiches made." He stood there turning bacon and sausages. The walls of the cafe were clad with wood and hung around with black and white pictures of London's tourist attractions. I placed a tiny horse on the table so it stood next to the giant fizzing orange tower. The glass obscured the horse from the rest of the cafe's new inhabitants, and the reflection of the orange glass the parents talked on. I stared at the horse and played the events back in my head, ordering the events, catching a glimpse of the faces in the dust. I sit here with the box of journals in front of me. I lift the cardboard lid, pull off the tatty sellotape, and I start to dictate. I dictate the journals, his entries, his writings. The black line, London Bridge is the right stop for HMS Belfast. Bomafu Kawandu, inventor of the cup noodle, one of his insights. I read through the ingredients trying to memorise each one and drop my fork into the sludgy noodles. Concentrate, Mum traced the underground map with her finger over tea the night before. She had explained the cud loops and lines, a leviathan, a long word. Is it a leviathan? Of sorts. I was more interested in the sea creature, but I was also keen to see the ship. The metal structure above me was either crisscrossed or at right angles. A grey corner, a dial, a button, a grey rivet, a grey flank. We filed through. Half reading the display panels, Dad was talking to one of the other parents. We had joined up to come to the warship. I felt safe in its armour. I crawled into the nooks and crannies. Demonstration, good timing, probably have died down. Meant to have finished by 4:30, said the young man at the top of it. We'll head over at 5. The coach leaves at 6. My coat caught on one of the buttons of the display panel and a series of bombs detonated and then silence sounded. My dad jumped and I felt the material of the Admiral's jacket. The mannequins fit square, red brown with black tips and neat curved arches staring away from me. I rubbed my hand on the cold metal and looked up at the grey pipe columns disappearing into the ceiling above. When I looked down, I noticed a glint on the dark floor, a distant beacon flashing. I leant down and pushed my arm under the barrier. My fingertip was around a centimetre short. I pulled my ticket from my pocket and slid it under to flick the shiny discovery to me. I stood up and opened my fist. On my palm was the glinting beacon, one half of an earring, a tiny horse, handcrafted from silver. No one was in the show room with me. The tiny silver horse played on my mind for the rest of the walk around the ship. I pictured the lady wearing it, unassuming, red cord, skirt, blue jumper with embroidered patterned tights, brown boot glasses, red hair to her shoulders, faint complexion, softly spoken but firm, brushing her hand through her hair in the showroom, catching the earring without noticing and it dropped into the floor. The conversation with her partner later in the day, handed in at the gate. When I got there, I pushed my hand into my pocket, ready to reveal the find. Poised, I tried, but my hand enveloped a price. I tried to pull my hand out of my pocket, but instead I walked straight past my heart beating. We had left. I stopped and turned. My mum called. I turned and I walked towards it. It was too late. I was carrying the tiny silver horse.